Trump pledges to prevent U.S. central bank digital currency, at the same time signing into law the Genius Act, which creates a central bank digital currency just under a different name called Stablecoin. Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Well, this is the trouble I've got with a lot of websites these days, especially since all the Epstein stuff came out with Trump. And I mean, like I said in this post on Telegram, anyone who's still supporting Donald Trump at this point is either paid to do so or is completely delusional. You're under strong delusion that God sent, so you believe the lies instead of the truth because you prefer the lies if you're still supporting Trump. So Zero Hedge and Hal Turner have become so deluded by Trump, it's hard to read their articles without puking in my mouth a little bit. Notice how they're praising Trump in this article, if you read it, for pledging no CBDCs while signing the Genius Act into law on the 18th. If Zero Hedge were honest at all about this, they would tell you that the Genius Act creates a CBDC. But nope, it's all pro-Trump in the article. Hal Turner won't even talk about Epstein and Trump because he's so controlled. Well, the Bible does say, by their fruits you shall know them, or by their lack of fruit. And like I said, to start this, anyone who's still supporting Trump at this point is either paid to do so or is completely delusional. Controlled opposition. So, like Alex Jones and Ben Shapiro and a whole bunch of them. Charlie Kirk. All those folks. Controlled opposition. Now they're saying that to release the Epstein files, it'd be too much harm done to the country. So let's talk about the Genius Act again. We talked about it last week when I showed you what it was. While you were distracted, Trump's Genius Act, CBDC, will allow government to punish vaccine mandate refusers by freezing their bank accounts and many other things they could do. Basically cut you off from society. So this money can be programmed. Let there be no doubt about that. Right here, here's what it says. A permitted payment stablecoin issuer shall be treated as a financial institution and shall be subject to all federal laws applicable to a financial institution located in the United States, including policies and procedures to block, freeze, and reject specific or impermissible transactions that violate federal or state laws, rules, or regulations. And so basically, they can interpret that to mean anything. So if you violate the Noahide laws, for example, which are already in place, if you are anti-Semitic in a social media post, or you buy something from a company they consider anti-Semitic that violates federal, state laws, rules, or regulations, which change on a daily basis. So half the time we don't even know if we're violating the law or not, because they just keep changing the rules and regulations all the time. We keep moving the goalposts around. It's like a shell game. But have no doubt that they will be able to block, freeze, or reject specific or impermissible transactions that violate federal or state law, rules, or regulations. Trump just signed it into law. And Zero Hedge thinks it's great because he pledged to prevent a U.S. central bank digital currency. Well, technically he did. But at the same time, he snuck one in through the back door with this Genius Act. And Zero Hedge and other publications are not being honest about it. They're not telling you the other side of it, which is yellow journalism, in my opinion. And Hal Turner won't even talk about. I've asked him, and he won't answer. Why aren't you talking about Epstein and Trump? Not a peep. Crickets. So I'm no longer a subscriber to Hal Turner's website after that. I just, but the wheat from the chaff. That's what Trump is here to do. What Trump is here to do is separate those who are loyal to God and those who are loyal to the world and to him. Those who are still clinging on to this life, in this world, and not looking to the next one because they're too short-sighted. While we're on the subject, let's go to the Wine Press News and look at Trump's one big, beautiful bill greatly expands biometric surveillance. It funds DHS's end-to-end biometric travel, and it puts up autonomous surveillance towers throughout the country. So this $165 billion in funding will help DHS and our brave law enforcement further deliver on President Trump's mandate to arrest and deport criminal illegal aliens and make America safe again, which is all a bunch of nonsense. BS. So it is. This is to monitor and surveil us, to arrest and probably deport actual American citizens. Trump said he wants to deport the homegrowns. Remember what he said to the president of El Salvador when he was here? And they were talking about, deporting the illegal aliens to that huge mega prison in El Salvador. And then Trump said the homegrowns are next, meaning American citizens. At some point, there's going to be an executive order, a mandate of some kind that comes out saying that if you disagree with Trump, you're going to El Salvador or some jacked up prison, Alligator Alley, Alligator Alcatraz, whatever. But that's what will happen eventually. So of the many things contained in President Trump's highly touted spending package, the one big beautiful bill, BBB 666, which he signed earlier this month, the bill allocates hefty spending to drastically expand nationwide biometric surveillance in the United States, drastically bolstering the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration, and Custom Enforcement's tracking capabilities. Yes, it's creating a federal police force, essentially, through ICE, because they have to use ICE in this case because, immigration, illegal immigration is now the big problem, right? Because under 4 years of Biden, they just let everybody in. They were doing the exact opposite of what they're doing now. You see how they swing everybody from the left to the right and back again? Every 4 to 8 years? That's part of the psychological operation too, by the way. But anyway, so here are some of the things contained in the BBB bill. Trump's amended one big beautiful bill passes the House, ushering in one of the largest debt expansions in U.S. history. Trump created a shadow CBDC via his direct deposit Trump accounts per the one big beautiful bill right here. So once again, CBDC was created through all this legislation. Trump's one big beautiful bill contains provisions to steal farmland via eminent domain to install carbon pipelines. We need plants need carbon to survive, and we need plants for oxygen, but never mind all that. That's just nonsense. Science isn't science anymore unless it's paid for by the government, paid for and approved by the government. It's just crazy anymore. Though not revealed by mainstream or alternative media, Biometric Update highlights how the 940-page BBB allocates hundreds of billions of dollars in immigration-related funding for fiscal year 2025 alone, which is by far the largest allocation in U.S. history and represents a dramatic technology build-out. ICE will receive nearly $30 billion in funding through 2029, earmarked not only for personnel and deportation operations, but also, and more importantly, for digital modernization efforts that lean heavily on AI and biometric surveillance. The outlet added, more than $5.2 billion within ICE's shares dedicated to infrastructure modernization, including $2.5 billion specifically for artificial intelligence, biometric data collection platforms, and digital case tracking. But it won't just be for illegals. The DHS website says the total funding department is now receiving $165 billion, slightly less than the $175 billion biometric update initially reported. Nevertheless, a partial breakdown of the funding is explained in a press release, courtesy of Secretary Kristi Noem. So here is the breakdown. $46.5 billion to complete the border wall, which will mostly be virtual, by the way, based on sensors and AI, drone surveillance, and so on, cameras. There won't be actual physical walls in a lot of places. And in some places, it's just impossible to put them. But $14.4 billion for removal transportation, $12 billion in state reimbursements for states that fought against the Biden administration's open border, $4.1 billion to hire additional Customs Border Patrol personnel, including 3,000 more customs officers and 3,000 new Border Patrol agents. $3.2 billion for new technology, $2.7 billion for new cutting-edge border surveillance, like I just talked about, the virtual wall. $855 million to expand Customs and Border Protection's vehicle fleet. The law will also provide ICE with the funding to hire 10,000 new agents. They say it will allow the rate of deportations to reach as high as 1 million per year. Well, I don't know who they're going to deport when they're going to give amnesty to all the farm workers and so on. I mean, it's just amazing. how they keep contradicting themselves. But the Triple B provides ICE with enough detention capacity to maintain an average daily population of 100,000 illegal aliens and secures 80,000 new ICE beds. It'll also fully fund ICE's 287G program, which empowers state and local law enforcement to assist federal immigration officers. Under that law, ICE and Border Patrol agents will also receive a $10,000 bonus for the next 4 years. Isn't that nice? All for violating our civil rights. Just, go ahead and give them 10 grand extra a year for that. The Triple B also bolsters the U.S. Coast Guard with the following: $14 billion for U.S. Coast Guard cutters, $3.7 billion for U.S. Coast Guard aircraft, and $6 billion for infrastructure. And of course, Noam said in a statement that it's all, to make America safe again, which is nonsense. Biometric updates more specifically details what this latest injections of funds will provide, which includes end-to-end biometric travel. So they're going to know where you travel and where you are at all times. End to end. That means beginning to end. So if you got a trip planned to Miami, you got a trip planned to Vegas, whatever, they're going to be able to monitor you from end to end at border and port entries, along with enhanced facial and fingerprint recognition, autonomous surveillance towers, predictive programming models and threat detection, and more. These systems are not vaguely defined. DHS officials familiar with the bill's intent say the funds are aimed at expanding ICE's access to mobile biometric tools, integrating facial recognition into field operations, automating risk scoring for individuals in deportation proceedings, and accelerating case processing through AI-driven platforms. And here's more about the automatic or autonomous surveillance towers. Biometric provisions also extend to CBP, which is slated to receive $6.16 billion for modern surveillance, biometric, and screening technologies. The legislative text outlines the deployment of autonomous surveillance towers and artificial intelligence for threat detection, language that suggests an operational integration of facial recognition, gait analysis, in other words, how you walk, and predictive behavior models along the southern border. So, wow. Autonomous towers are equipped with a variety of sensors to detect activity along the southwest border, enhancing surveillance capabilities and providing real-time information to Border Patrol agents. So, I'll let you read some of this on your own, guys. I don't want to read the whole thing. But given the speed and scale of the bill's advancement, biometric surveillance and data privacy landscapes across the U.S. may soon look dramatically different and be further centralized under federal authority, stripped of local safeguards and deeply intertwined with AI-driven immigration enforcement. Wow. And let's not forget that DHS was created under Bush following 9/11 and the Patriot Act, which was already drafted years in advance, with one of its primary drafters being Joe Biden, and that it was done to stop the terrorists, they said. And everyone accepted it. All the sweeping oppression, tyranny, loss of personal liberty, took the Bill of Rights and just stripped it out, basically. And autonomy because they were jarred into passively accepting it. Now fighting illegal aliens, Chinese, and Iranian sleeper cells is the latest excuse. Now don't get me wrong. The blatant invasion of illegals, dangerous criminals, drug and child traffickers invited into the country is a real threat. But this is once again the Hegelian dialectic at play. Problem, reaction, solution. The solution is now even more digital slavery. Make no mistake, this bolstered security, this increase in ICE agents is not to stop terrorists and illegals, it's for us. In politics, nothing happens by accident. If it happens, you can bet it was planned that way. That's what Franklin Roosevelt, former U.S. president and a 33rd degree Freemason, had to say. There's no accident that the border wall was not completed during Trump's first tenure. Now it is being finished and upgraded with even more sophisticated technology and surveillance, patrolling that was not quite ready yet at the time. We have now seen how Trump and this administration have completely reneged on their promises of mass deportation and now are now giving them amnesty, while ICE arrests and harasses perfectly legal Americans and foreigners with up-to-date visas and green cards. Yeah. Like it says in this article here. It also covers anti-Semitism in this article. So I'm not going to read this to you because it just, it gets so long. And then the videos get too long and they get boring. But here it is. Trump launches task force to combat anti-Semitism and appoints rabbi as head DHS to begin screening social media posts for anti-Semitism. That's whether you're a citizen of America or not. They can screen your stuff when you come back into the country. So I'll put the link up to this in case you missed it. This was posted by the wine press back in April. But these no-hide laws are coming. And they include prohibitations on eating meat and they establish pro-Jewish courts. So, wow, it's all coming, guys, and it's coming so fast. It's coming like a freight train, don't you think? And then GAO, the Government Accounting Office, has warned Congress about imminent danger from older computer systems that are 23 to 60 years old in 10 agencies, including the Department of Defense. And that's what I found just amazing was I was in the U.S. Air Force from 1985 through 1990. So I did 5 years. And I had signed up for 6, but I took the early out for the last one. So GAO warns Congress about imminent danger from computer systems that are up to 6 years old in the Department of Defense. And I got to thinking about my time in the service. That means that the old Zenith computer that I used to type out my reports on, my desk blotter reports, because I was a security policeman, that means that those old green and black screens, the green letters on the screen might still be in use. Because they're using software that can't even be updated anymore. There's very few people that even know how to write the code for it anymore. And a lot of these are critical systems that include our healthcare systems, our tax systems, critical IT networks, guys. And they've been asking the government to modernize it for decades now. 60 years with the military. I just thought about that, and I thought about it here a couple of weeks ago. I wonder if they still have those computers with the 3.5-inch floppy disks in them. That's what we used to use. I saw this report and I went through it. I was just floored. I'll put the link up so you can read through it yourselves. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but it just blew my mind. I knew the government was inefficient, but wow, talk about inefficient, outdated. I mean, we're talking COBOL computer languages and trying to find you can't find updates for that anymore. I mean, it's just none of this stuff. It's just absolutely incredible and insane to me that they're still using these old systems, but they are. And then changing subjects again, just another news update that I came across today I wanted to make you aware of. I'm just so sick of this news, guys. Starving Palestinians murdered en masse by terrorist Jews while waiting in line for food again. I see these headlines day after day after day, and it crushes my heart and my soul every day. Unbelievable. And like it says here in the picture, imagine what they did when we couldn't see their crimes on our phones. Indeed. It says here, suddenly tanks surrounded us and trapped us in as gunshots and strikes rained down. We were trapped for around 2 hours, said Ihab al-Zai, who had been waiting for flour. I will never go back again. Let us die of hunger. It's better. At least 85 Palestinians were murdered while trying to reach food at locations across Gaza on Sunday, the territory's health ministry said, on the deadliest day yet for aid seekers in over 21 months of war. There was new alarm as Israel's military issued evacuation orders for areas of central Gaza, one of the few areas where it has rarely operated with ground troops and where many international organizations trying to distribute aid are located. One aid group said several groups' offices were told to evacuate immediately. The largest death toll was in devastated northern Gaza, where living conditions are especially dire. At least 79 Palestinians were killed while trying to reach aid entering through the Zakim crossing with Israel. Zahir al-Wahadi, head of the Health Ministry Records Department, told the Associated Press. The UN World Food Program said 25 trucks with aid had entered for starving communities when it encountered massive crowds that came under gunfire. So a UN official speaking on condition of anonymity because they were not allowed to comment on the incident to the media said Israeli forces opened fire toward the crowds who tried to take food from the convoy. Footage taken by the UN and shared with the AP showed Palestinian men running as the sound of automatic gunfire could be heard. I've already read you the quote about being trapped for 2 hours. Nafiz al-Najjar, who was also injured, said tanks and drones targeted people randomly, and he saw his cousin and others shot dead. And I've already shown you stories where Israeli troops have come out and said now, under condition of anonymity, that they're encouraged to shoot at the people going for aid by their commanders. And that's a standing order from the head of the IDF. And so it continues. And people want to tell me, oh, it's not a genocide, Johnny. Really? The official death count stands at just under 60,000, and there's probably hundreds of thousands buried under the rubble that are not accounted for. And you want to tell me it's not a genocide? Give me a break. Wow. Armageddon continues to slowly unfold. And it's really hard to watch. It really is. Come soon, Lord Jesus, come soon. Speaking of which, he is coming soon. Very soon. In fact, he instructed us to lift up our heads because our redemption draws nigh. When we see all these things coming to pass, earthquakes in diverse places, famines, pestilences, wars, rumors of wars, kingdom against kingdom, nation against nation. Guys, it's all here. Are you ready? Do you have Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior? Because he is the way, the truth, and the life. No one's getting to the Father but through him. He's the way to get reconciled. He's the way to get your sins cleansed from you. If you repent, if you submit yourself to him and commit yourself to him, commit yourself to a new way of life with Jesus Christ, because there is no other way. And I can't emphasize enough how short the time is. I can't emphasize it enough. In fact, when I was in prayer this past week, that was one of the things that was emphasized to me, was that I can't emphasize that enough. The time is short, and he's coming very soon. We've had lots of children telling us that here recently, haven't we? That saw Jesus, your death experience type stuff. Yeah, he's real, and he's coming soon. And you want to be on this good side when he comes. Wow. The day of the Lord is coming very, very soon, guys. Get ready. Seek Jesus Christ now while he can still be found, before it's too late. All right. Well, that's it for now. This is don'tspeaknews.com, which is home base for everything that we do. I put a lot of stories here that we can't place anywhere else. And I may have one for later today, if not probably tomorrow, God willing, of news that we can't speak about anywhere else but the website or on Rumble and BitChute. And if you want to find us on Rumble and BitChute, you can click on this tab right here. Rumble, BitChute, Telegram links, all the links to find us, including YouTube, are right here. Including, we also have Don't Speak Health News, Unsubstack Health News we're not supposed to speak about. And if you want to support us, we are listener supported only. I thank everyone who has stepped up and supported us here over the last month, especially as I just renewed the website, domain name, got an expensive internet bill paid off. So thank you very much for all the support, and especially for all the prayers that you give us. And if you want to subscribe, there's a subscription box at the bottom of every article that you read, but there's also one here. So click on subscribe, contact Johnny, and Don't Speak News at Proton Mail is how you contact us. And type in your email here, click on subscribe, and then you'll be notified every time there's a new story put up. And that will be it for now. I'm not going to report on the wars, rumors of wars right now, because there's just a lot of rumors going on. But like I said, I may have some news later today. If not, hopefully tomorrow, whenever I get this video finished, on news that we definitely can't speak about anywhere else. But for now, that's it. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.